Appreciate it. Thank you. First, I just want to say I'm really thankful to Connected for this amazing space, introducing me to it, and being able to participate a little bit with the culture and the community that's been built here. So I've got one message today, and that is if you want to learn about yourself, step out of your comfort zone. This has been a pattern of my life, and I've learned a lot of interesting things about me. And I've been able to, as Brent said, wear a lot of different roles throughout my career. I've done everything from running the West Side Development Corporation, a community organization. I've worked in the White House. I've worked as a political director to the governor of New York. But one thing I always enjoy is serving my community, and that's why I work right now with the Center for Healthcare Services. The one thing I also want to say is pay attention to convergence in your life. This is where things that you may have done in the past may lead to something else you end up doing later in life, especially if you're one that's looking for your reason and your purpose. A lot of times you'll be given those stepping stones to get where you're being led to. So I have an interesting story about how I discovered my artistic talent. Didn't know I had it. Other than the doodling and stuff I did as a kid, I worked a little bit in advertisement, so I had an eye for things, but nothing that I would ever consider building a career off of. But while I was at the West Side Development Corporation, we had this gentleman come to our office, and he wanted to build a community garden for us. He had been out in California working the farmland there, originally from San Antonio, and he moved back. And while I was at the West Side Development Corporation, we had a lot of land. And I said, hey, go at it. I can write a check for this. We'd love to have a community garden serving the Edgewood community. And so I was there to empower him, to help him, and allow him to get started. So we did a couple of things together where he came into the office and he did a demonstration for a bunch of nursing students on building compost, and showed us how you can easily do that in your own home. And that was a really great learning experience. And I thought, okay, this guy can follow through. And then he falls off the face of the earth. And I can't find him. And I really enjoyed meeting him. I really cared about him being part of our community. And I felt he had something really positive to offer our campus. So about a month goes by, and I decide, well, I really need to check in on him. I couldn't get a call back, no text. So I find out where he lives, and I show up at his door. And I knock on his door, and I'm like, let's just say his name's John. John, where have you been? And I noticed he wasn't in a really good state. He'd been having some mental health issues. And it was kind of apparent to me, because when I went in and he invited me in and we kind of started talking, I noticed all of these magazines, and he had a table out, and he's sitting there doing collage work. And for me, this is something I'm not accustomed to seeing. And so I was a little taken back, and I was like, what is going on here? And he basically says, this really helps me deal with my stress and anxiety, and I've been having a really hard time. And so I kind of thought about what he said, and I said, it helps you with your stress and anxiety? And he's like, yeah, it really does. And I take that and I put it in my pocket. It's like, that was a really important thing he was trying to share with me. And then I took an interest in what he was doing. He was doing this magnificent collage work out of magazines. So a couple of months later go by. I'm leaving the West Side Development Corporation. I took it to another level. I like to challenge myself and learn new things about me. Also wanted to turn the opportunity over to someone else and give them an opportunity to have an amazing career experience running this organization. So that happens. I end up going over to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I get hired, and 3 days later, the president and CEO quits. And I'm like, what did I just step into? I find out the board is politically charged, and I'm kind of persona non grata, thinking this was some sort of movida for me to be the next president and CEO. about 2 weeks later, COVID hits, and I can kind of see the writing on the wall. And I'm like, I need to find a new opportunity. So I'm under tremendous stress. I don't know what's going to happen with my career. I'm questioning every decision I just made about leaving this amazing job that I probably could have just stayed there for the rest of my life. And I remember what my friend Chris said. He said, this collage works helps me with my stress and anxiety. And I'm having tremendous stress, tremendous anxiety. I'm at Goodwill one day and I see some album covers and I think, these are kind of interesting. Maybe I'm going to try what Chris is doing, but I want to use my own medium. So I buy 10 album covers, set them down. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and I kind of ask myself, Leonard, are you ever just going to try it? So the next thing you know, I start laying them out, I start cutting, and since that point, I've not been able to stop. And what I realized about myself is I had this hidden artistic talent that took two things. It took me taking concern for someone else to discover it, and it took stepping out of my comfort zone. And so now this is something that I use and has become extremely important in my life. And like I said, pay attention to convergence and those things that you happen. And I actually work in the mental health space now. And so it's been interesting in my life to kind of see how these things have come together, been a benefit to me, but also been a story that I can share with others who are having mental health issues. So again, very thankful for Kinetic giving me the opportunity to participate in an art environment. It's just another one of those little stepping stones. And I thought that would be an interesting story to share with you all in this environment about what my journey's kind of been. So.